Hey, what's going on? Chilling with my best buddy in the world, my dog Patches. He was a therapy dog for my mom. Bought him as a therapy dog. I was hoping she would live longer and see him grow up, but she didn't. But I wanted to make this video. I didn't know how I was going to exactly make it, but I ran in, my phone took a dump on me, right? And my mom had the exact same phone, and hers didn't have a lot of use on it. So I decided, hey, I'll just take out my SIM card and put it in her old phone, so I don't have to go buy another phone, right? So anyways, my sister is a complete narcissist, and you're going to hear this audio clip that I found on my mom's phone. See, my sister was originally in the living trust. Well, my mom was so annoyed by how my sister was acting when she was sick. It was all about money, 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 money. It was all about my mom's objects and her physical belongings. She wanted all this stuff even before she died, and it was kind of heartbreaking, right? It was really shitty. But anyways, my mom changed everything and gave it all to me, but my sister ended up suing me. Her and her husband ended up filing a lawsuit against me for half of the accounts, which I did split it a little later down the road. It all boils down to my money was thinning out. I didn't have money for an attorney. And yeah, I love you too. But anyways, Pat just misses his mom. But it is what it is. He gets sad at times. But anyways, I was going through and I found an audio file. And I didn't know what it was. And see, when my mom died, not one person gave me a phone call. None of my family members, a lot of them knew because I called my cousin Deanie. My cousin Deanie explained it to all the other family members. So, but the very next day, my sister sent a text to me saying that she wanted mom's purses. I mean, my mom had a lot of nice clothes, and but my mom didn't want her to have any of it. That's why she left everything to me. And she says she says after I die, if you want to give her some stuff, if she's civil, she'll, but I had a restraining order on my sister, so I was willing to talk to my brother-in-law. Well, guess what? Neither of them called. Neither of them reached out. Neither one of them helped me with funeral, to help me with the funeral, because my mom wanted a really simple, get me cremated. She didn't want any services, and I said, I'll do exactly. And I put her up on the hill along with my grandma and my stepdad. They're all in the same spot, right? That's what she wanted. Well, anyways, my sister has been painting it out to a lot of family members that I was misleading my mom. I was kind of tricking her and this and that. And I'm to the point where I just don't really care anymore. But I found this voice recording, and you got to hear it. She's talking to her friend.
This is the reason there should be no arguing. And
she's talking about how to
just tell her, forget it. You know what? You don't need her help.
No,
that's fine.
no.
If she's going to put you through that kind of stress, at least your son is there for you.
Yeah, see, every time she gets here, she likes to want more and more things.
Yeah, and she wanted
Just tell her, you know what? If you can't, be there in my time of need and just cause me more problems.
Yeah. And I told her,
Yeah. She wouldn't even come down for 2 weeks to give me a break. 2 weeks was too long.
because I spent 7 hours with you yesterday, and we got along just fine. She's here visiting at the house, and I said,
That was on Christmas. This was all recorded on Christmas Eve because they came down to visit, but they couldn't come to the house because me and my sister, she's threatened to kill me, so of course I'm not going to have her around, and they went and got an Airbnb and I dropped them off. I was civil. But anyways, let's pick up.
Along the day before I went to her house and was over there playing fast track for 3 hours. then I had to come home because my back was hurting and I needed to lay down and have more morphine and put heat on my back. And so I said, I've got to go home. And you know what? She never said a damn thing about my dog. She says, oh, I don't know why you got a dog, because you're sick. And she says,
So I got the dog, Patches, as a therapy dog because my mom was on hospice. I wanted a little furry buddy in her bedroom to keep her company, and he did. He slept in her bed every night up by her. I mean, he was always licking her to death. He was trying to cheer her up, and that's why I got the dog for her. And plus, I knew after she died, I have no friends here in Yuma, unfortunately. I have a few acquaintances. I know a few people. I do have friends, but not like friends to hang out with and do shit because everybody up here is old. But anyways, I got frustrated and got her a dog, and then I knew when she died that dog would keep me company because I did have a hard time after she passed away. But let's continue.
and you're not training him. I says, Wendy, he knows how to sit, shake, stay, roll over. And I says, he's a hell of a good dog, and he is a companion for me, and he's my baby. And she says, you know, like when he barks at people when they comes to the house because he's not been around the people. And he's a guard dog. And so she says, you need to grab his nose and squeeze it and tell him no. And
Oh my God.
He's a puppy.
I says, Wendy, he's 5 months old. And I says, I've got it's not the liter bottle, but she brought a diet Dr. Pepper over. Then after she was done, I says, I want that bottle. And then Travis went and he grabbed one up for me. So when he barks, I can shake it and say no, because that's what I used to do with my golden retriever. And I forgot all about it, but then it came my light bulb.
Put it in a can.
Yeah, and they're afraid of it. You're not trying to hurt him. It's just saying no barking and shaking. It scares them.
But we're gonna nip in the butt all the threats my sister has made on me. I've already called. I'm gonna actually put a restraining order, and my mom will back me up on that. So that way she can't come over and because she's made 2 threats on me.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I would eliminate. Just tell her you don't need it. You don't need her. I mean, if she can't support you, then you know what?
I don't need this aggravation.
You can live with it the rest of your life. What you did to me.
Yeah, and
brother.
So then she never said, "Oh, he's a cute dog. Oh, he's cute." And
what kind of dog is it?
Australian Shepherd with blue eyes. He's black, white, and tan, and he's cute as a button.
You miss Mom, don't you?
And he's 5 months old.
And we have a white car. And I told my mom, that's your car. Yeah, I said, that's your car. She wants to give it to her kid, and her kid's a junkie.
Yeah, she wanted to know if she could have the car to give to her kid. So I just told her the car's already been sold. One of Travis's friends wanted it, gave me $5,000. And then when he gets the rest of the money, he'll pay me more.
And that's not
just
true.
To get her to quit talking about it. And, if he was a good kid, I would give her the car. It's not that big a deal. But if he got it and they put a new transmission and he went without a license and started doing the same shit he's always doing, he could kill somebody or kill himself. And I don't want that to happen with that car, for an accident to happen. So to nip it in the bud, instead of her bugging me about the car, I just told her, I says, one of Travis's friends come over and gave me $5,000. And then he bought 2 lots up here in the north area, which he really did, and he bought a Jeep. And I says, and so he asked if he could pay me $1,000 for 2 months. And then I says, I let him have the keys because he already gave me $5,000.
But that's not true.
And it's not true, but it
just
stopped her from bugging me about the car.
Yeah.
And
gosh.
Yeah.
And I told my mom,
Why did she come out there? Why did she?
Because she wanted to get stuff. She says, well, we got the truck so I can get more stuff. I says, what? My stuff is nothing to your stuff because you've got all expensive furniture. You've got all your expensive stuff at the cabin and at your house.
2 houses.
Her husband makes 6 figures. And so I says, there's nothing to get. She's got an exercise bike like I have. And there's nothing that you're going to take.
God.
And I gave her the eagle. Travis put the eagle in the car, and then she wanted Grandma's paper mache, and I told her, when she was down last time, she could have it, but she didn't want to take it home on a plane because it could get lost or stolen. That's that eagle that's out of bronze. So I told her, I says, Travis already put the paper mache and all the eagle in the trunk, and then I'll bring it down when we play Fast Trap. And so, Travis put it in the garage where she's staying at the B&B. And she says, well, I wanted to come up and get other stuff. I says, like what? There's nothing to take. I mean, I says, you're not going to take pictures off the wall until I'm dead and gone. I want the house.
Yeah, here's the thing. My sister, as soon as she found out my mom had cancer, she was calling me like, how much does mom have in her accounts? This and that. And I told my mom that, and she was really disgusted by it. And then even one time I had my speakerphone with my sister talking about how she wanted to know all her accounts, and Mom did not like that one bit.
To be still put together. I says, you can have things, but it's not going to happen right now. And so, you know what she did? She called my attorney and talked to the attorney, and she says, I called your attorney to find out where your money is at what bank. And I says, so what did they tell you? Nothing. And I says, because you're not power of attorney, Travis is.
Yep.
She says, well, that's not right. I says,
I'm the executor.
He's the executor and power of attorney because that way he's here to help me, to have authority to do certain things. And she says, well, I was that. And I says, yeah, but you're
not anymore.
Right. And Travis is here. He's got to have it to pay bills. And she says, oh, so he's on your checking account too? I says, Wendy, he's not on a checking account because he has child support. They could take my money out of my account. I says, so I just took out more money at the bank, and then I got it here at the house so he can pay bills, or that when they come in, he can pay the bills and get a money order and do it that way. And then the state can't take my money for child support.
Probably shouldn't have told her about him owing child support.
I'm not that far behind.
He's not that far behind.
I'm like 2,000 and behind, and they know I make
But now I'm 0 behind, and I only got 1 year left. Woohoo! Can't wait to get that paid off.
payments every month. I said, hey, I'm in this situation because Bidenomics. If Trump was in office, I wouldn't have this problem.
So anyway, that's what I told her, and I says, and he has to be here because he has to pay, house taxes and stuff that has to be paid. And, and so I says, and then you have a lot of stuff. You can't get any money till after 3 weeks till you get a death certificate. So you have to have money to work with. And see, I was on my mom's checking account, so I could write out her bills. But, and Travis would be on mine if he didn't have child support. And so she says, I could do that. I says, you couldn't do that, Wendy. You're clear up in St. George. You don't know what my electric bill is or my...
Yeah, the one thing about my sister, she always likes to be in control. And she never, even when she's wrong, she will never say sorry. Never.
Or my taxes or any of that stuff. You don't know that.
She likes to always have control.
And so she wants to rule the roost and be controlled. And I says, well, I can choose who I want to be the executor. And she says, I've got this paper, what it was last time I came down. And she says, but there's no account numbers. What's your account number? And I says, you don't need...
She took that off because of you.
No, Wendy, I'm not talking about it right now. And
She won't stop, would she?
Yeah, she wants the money. And she says, well, after you die, Travis is over everything. He's not going to get all that money. And I says, Wendy, I don't want to talk about it. And I was telling my...
Yeah, and her husband really, I don't know how much they spent for the attorney, but this attorney was threatening me left and right with, oh, man, we're coming after the house, we're coming after the car, and I'm just like, I'm trying not to laugh because all that shit's in my name, And my mom bought a brand new car, and the first thing she said after she got the title after my sister was acting up, she says, we're going to put your name on the title because I don't want to spend more money and have to put it into the living trust, because every time my sister pissed my mom off, she changed the living trust. I mean, she changed it like probably 4 or 5 times, and each time Wendy got less and less and less and less, and she basically got disinherited.
Other friend, and she says, my sons don't know how much damn money I have, and they never will. She says, I put money in their checking account to pay for my funeral expenses. And that was another thing I told Wendy. I says, he's got to have at least, I don't know what it is now, but when Bill got cremated, it was $1,300 or $1,400. So I says, and you have to have cash for that. And I says, so these 2 things is my responsibility, not to lay on Travis. It's not his death, it would be mine. And so that's what it's there for. And so she says, well, that's not right. I should be doing that. I says, you can't do it. You're clear up in St. George, Wendy. And I says, and so she was coming unglued and arguing. I says, Wendy, stop it right now, because I cannot take this stress. I do not want this stress. And I'm not going to, it's my business. I'm taking care of it.
Yeah, and you think, that's pretty horrible. Your mom's on hospice, morphine at the time, but she graduated from morphine to Dilantin and fentanyl patches. And for my sister to come down on a holiday and sit there, holidays are about not talking about money, about being with your loved ones and spend good quality time. But the whole time she came up here to visit, my mom cut the visit short because the next day she didn't want to hang out with her own daughter. And yeah.
And she got pissed off and she was mad. She says, I'm going to get you off as a caregiver, blah, blah, blah. Then my other friends, they came down and they...
Yeah, literally. She was calling all kinds of people trying to say, he's using drugs and he's drinking and partying. And here's the thing. I drink very minimal. Usually, a tall boy, a beer, and that's it. Sometimes a quart, and I'm done. And I don't drink every day. And yes, I do use cannabis. I've been using cannabis for over 30 years. I don't regret it one bit. Actually, my mom, the whole time she was on cancer, she changed her whole view on cannabis because she didn't smoke it, but I turned her on to edibles. And she was on that the whole time up until hospice. Then it wasn't doing any good, and so she had to get on really hard drugs.
Up at the end of the street, and they said, caregiving is hard work, and you've spent down here 5 years taking care of your mom, helping her. Now it all clicks in. Now we know she's got cancer because we didn't know she was even sick. And he says, and then you're coy.
See, my mom didn't tell any of her friends at all that she was sick because she didn't want to get treated differently. And I told her to respect that. But towards the end, I said, you got to tell your friends. You got to let them know, and which she did.
Says, because you used to come swimming, and every time we asked you to come in, you'd say, it's either too hot or it's too cold. And I said, no, I'm just going to go play cards. And she says, we noticed your walking was getting a little wobbly. And he goes, well, she looks fine. I don't think there's really anything wrong with her. And then, they came in when I was playing cards with the girls, and all the girls didn't know I had cancer either. But I told Susan, and I told a couple of the girls, and told them that I wasn't rejoining because I can't get in the pool and I can't play cards anymore. So then they know, and she says, well, do you care if we share with the other friends at the club? I says, no, that's fine now because I can't go anymore. And that I really wanted to play cards.
I know.
But I can't reach over because it hurts my back too bad. So we played Wendy and Brandon and the grandson. We played fast track for 3 hours, and I had a big fat pillow behind me, and that helped. And I had my morphine, and then after 3 hours, I said, Wendy, I can't do anymore. I gotta go home. I gotta lay down, get my PJs, put the heating pad on, and I'm due for more morphine. I got to get home. So Travis come and got me, and then we come back, and then she says, well, and then when I went over there, I said to her husband, I says, well, you know, I just want to say something to you. I says, I know Wendy and Travis has had problems with each other.
Hey,
and
man,
I says,
we argue.
I said, they need to call a truce. And I says, he said some things about your son. And I says, because he does drugs. And
It's
he's
the
in
truth.
trouble with the law and everything else. And they don't believe.
I hope he gets
They
clean.
believe he's not as bad as he is, but he's got 3 more court dates. He's been in jail, and he's going to be going in jail longer when he gets these other 3 court dates in. He'll be in jail longer. So I told her, I says, can't we just, people get hot-headed.
So there we go. That was the end of it. I don't think she purposely meant to record that. I think what happened is she hit something on her phone when she put speakerphone on, and she hit that app, which my mom has done some crazy stuff like that before. But the reason I decided to put this video all together is because I had a really tough time when my mom died, and my sister didn't reach out, didn't call, didn't try to, even my brother-in-law didn't call, and I said, you know, if you want some stuff, reach out to me and we can talk about it, but he never called. My sister texted me the very next day saying, I want mom's purses, I want her bags, I want this and that, and I want her outfits. I'm like, Wendy, you can't fit in that stuff. You're fat. Mom lost all her weight. All her new clothes are for thin people. So she didn't like that too much. But I hope you enjoyed watching this. This video is mainly aimed at one person only. So I don't really give a shit about views. But anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time. Peace.